Shalom everyone, and welcome to day 9 of your study of Biblical Hebrew. Today's letter is the letter Tet, and Tet makes the sound of the English letter T as in top. So it makes a T sound, T. So that's the sound of the letter Tet. And we're going to take a look at a word that has the letter Tet in it. So remember, we start with the consonant. What is the consonant? It's a Tet, and it makes a T sound, which is why we transliterate it with a T. And so what we're going to do now is we look down and see the vowel, and the vowel is a patach, and that is this straight line, horizontal line that's underneath it, and it makes the ah sound. That's why we transliterate it with an A. So we have an ah sound underneath. So with the consonant is a T sound, T, and the vowel is an ah sound. So you have T and ah. So put them together, you get ta, T, ah, ta. So we look over to the next letter and we see that it is a noon. You haven't learned this letter yet. It's okay. I'm telling you what it is. It's a noon, and it makes a N sound, as in the letter N. That's why it's transliterated as an N. And so it makes a N sound. And so we look down and we see a dot under it. And this dot is called a hirik. And it makes an E sound, E. And then we look over and we see a yod. This is the letter yod. Now, when it acts as a consonant, it makes a Y sound like a Y. But remember how we talked about the letter He and Vav and how they act as vowels? Well, Yod is also a vowel letter. It's a matres lectiones, a mother of reading. So, over here, Yod is acting as a vowel. And you don't have to know this. You'll be learning this later on in the later lessons. But I'm just telling you what it is over here to learn how to pronounce this word. So you don't pronounce the yod over here because this yod combined with the hirik will just say the E sound. Okay, so you'll learn more about how the yod works later on. But just know that this is the E sound, and when with the E sound you transliterate it with an I, as in the word ski, as in S-K-I, going skiing. So you have the E sound in there. That's why it's transliterated with an I. So we're going to look over to the next letter, and this is a noon as well. There's 2 forms of the letter noon. You will learn that later on with when you get to the letter noon. You don't have to be scared about it. It's actually really simple. So you don't have to worry about it too much. But this makes the N sound. So we have ta, ni, n. So you have the ta, ni, and that's how you pronounce this word. So you combine the t and the I, you get ta. You have the n and the e, which this and this combined makes e. So you have ni, and then you have n. Ta, ni, n. Tanin. So the word tanin means sea monster, serpent, dragon, and can be used to describe Leviathan. You can see Isaiah 27 verse 1 if you want to take a look at that. But that's what this word means. And so now we're going to take a look at how you write the letter Tet. So you start with a line going down this way. So like a straight line from the top here all the way down. And then you go over one line. Then you go up. And then you bring a line down almost to the center. And that's how you get Tet. It goes like this. You can do it with one stroke with your pencil or pen or whatever you're using to write with. And it just goes with one line. You don't have to take your pen or pencil off the paper. And it kind of does look like a serpent or a snake from the top view, like it's been coiled. And that's how you can probably use the word tanin to help you remember it. Looks like it's been coiled. So I don't know if that helps you out, but maybe it can. Okay, so moving on, we're going to do a letter search for the letter tet, and we're going to look for it in this passage of Psalm 119. Okay, and as always, I'm going to remove the vowels and highlight God's name so that you know where it is. And what you can do now is try to find as many tets as you can. I'm going to put a timer up, but if you need more time, you can always pause the video. But if you want a challenge, you can use the timer. Okay? Ready, set, go. And time's up. So this is how many tets are here. We have a total of 10. And here's something else which I forgot to mention during the lesson, is that when you heard the name Begadkefat, remember the acronym used to remember all those letters? It has a T or T sound at the end, and you may think that this letter is part of that group, but it's not, okay? It's another letter that is also making the T sound that you will learn later on. That is part of the Begadkefat club, okay? But speaking of Begadkefat club, let's see if you can remember all the letters you've learned so far that are from this club. So what is the first letter that is part of the club? It makes, in the acronym, makes a B sound, so that means it must be the letter bet. So let's see if we can find a bet in this letter. A bet in this passage. Well, we see a vet here. This makes the V sound. So remember, the bet with the dot makes a B sound, as in ball. And when there is no dot inside the vet, it makes a V sound, as in van. So a V sound. So this one here makes the V sound, vet. Now we find another one here, but let's see if we can find one that makes a B sound, because we already saw the V sound. And it's not here. Let's see. Let's go down. Oh, I see one here. Here's a bet. It makes the B sound, B. Okay, so we found the first one in the Begadkefat, which is bet. Now the next one is gimel, because that's the G sound, Be-G-Ad. So Begadkefat. So let's look for a gimel now and see if there is a gimel here. Is there a gimel in this passage? You can take a look at as well as I go through it. Oh, I found two here. Convenient. They're side by side. So here's gimel, and gimel makes the G sound, as in goat, G. So we found a gimel. Now the next letter we're going to look for is dalet, because that's the D sound in Begadkefat. So D. So let's see, where's the dalet? It's here. And it makes the D sound. And we need to make sure we don't get the dalet confused with the resh. Here's the resh. See this? It's smooth. It's just one line going down. Whereas dalet looks like his neck got bent or he hit his head on something. See that little tiny bit there? That's what separates a dalet from the resh. Okay? So after the dalet, did you learn any others in the Begadkefat letters so far? Nope, you have not. Those are the only letters you know so far from the Begadkefat. All right, so next group of letters is the Gutturals plus Resh. Let's see how many you know from the Gutturals plus Resh. So the first one is Aleph. You learned Aleph is part of the Gutturals plus Resh. So let's see, can we find an Aleph in this passage? Yep, right there. Here's one. Here's an Aleph. Here's another one. And here's another one. You know what's funny? Aleph kind of looks like an N. I don't know why, but it kind of does. See that? Kind of looks like it. But Aleph is silent. It doesn't make a sound. It can only make a sound when it's paired with a vowel. So we found your first guttural, Aleph. Now the next one you learned in the guttural club is hey. So let's see if you can find hey. It should be very easy because it's in God's name. There's a hey right here and another one. And the letter hey makes a h sound as in hat. But it is also a vowel letter and can help you out when it's acting as a vowel. Let's see if we can find another guttural that you've learned. And that is the letter chet. Let's see if we can find the chet anywhere. Also, hopefully you've been practicing on your sounds. Let's see. Nothing here. Remember, chet is the letter that kind of looks like hey, but there's no gap in it. Oh, here it is. Here's a chet. And here's a hey right above it, so you can compare it to. You have a gap, no gap. So hey and chet. Chet has no gap. And it is your third guttural. And that's all the gutturals you've learned so far in your lessons. So the letters in the Begadkefat club are Bet, Gimel, Dalet, and the letters in the Gutturals plus Resh club is Aleph, Hey, Chet. Aleph, Hey, Chet. Okay, and what are some of the other letters that you've learned? You've learned Zayin. Let's see if Zayin's here. Zayin. Where's Zayin? Oh, here's Zayin. Zayin looks kind of like a capital T or like it's wearing a hat. And we shouldn't get Zayin confused with the letter Vav. Vav looks like a hook or a nail. And Zayin looks like he's wearing a stremel. He's wearing his Shabbat best for you. And so I think these are all the letters you've learned so far. So you've learned Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, and Tet. That's a lot of letters you've learned. That's good. Okay. Here's what you should know before moving on to your next lesson. You should know the name of the letter Tet. You should know the sound of this letter. It makes the T sound as in top. When you transliterate this letter into English, you write a letter T for it. And the type of letter it is a consonant. And the last thing you should know, it's not part of any club, so it's not part of the gutturals. It's not part of the Begadkefat. Okay, don't get it confused with the Begadkefat. There's another letter that makes the T sound. This one's not the one that's in that group. There's a different letter, which you will learn later on. Okay, so don't get this one mixed up with that. Right? So this is what you should know moving on. So in the next lesson, you will be learning the letter Yod, and it is the last letter that acts as a vowel. So you learn two other letters that act as a consonant and a vowel. Now you'll be learning the last letter in that group that also acts as a consonant and vowel, and it's the letter Yod. And so I'll see you in the next lesson. And until then, Shalom and God bless.